Hello. Testing. We are live. We are live, she cried. Alive, she cried. All right. So yesterday, if you were here, well, it is available on YouTube, so I suggest you go back and do your homework. Do your He ripped a piece of work that I thought might have been finished, and then I wound it. I should damage it. I damage it. Is damage the right word? Probably not. I'm happy with it because I repeat this. I notice actually and even I think it is actually an annoying thing he does, and I'm not sure. Word comes. Maybe speculating. All right. So I wanted to basically disrupt this image because, and this is simple as this. These new drawings that I'm doing are ridiculous to frame because they come off the surface, and it's really that simple. If you take a small drawing to a framer, you kind of don't worry too much because he's going to put it behind a piece of glass and sandwich it and frame it, and you come back and you fetch it and you take it home and it's all good. When it's a big drawing like this, it's very serious business when you take it to the frame. You put it there, and the initial thing is, oh, I'm putting this thing there, and there's going to be this just demanding thing that now has to be framed. And I don't want him to look at it and think, what? You want to frame that? No. I want him to be impressed by it. So if I'm going to take it to him, look, anyway, whenever you go to the frame, you kind of have to kind of gird your loins, so to speak, and hope that it's holding itself up appropriately or acceptably in front of the framer and not being, because the first point of judgment is really the framer. So I had to go. So if I take something like this to the framer, something so massive, I've got to believe that it's really, really good. So there's no getting away with it. So I did disrupt you yesterday. I did it on live, and I thank you for that because that really is what it is. It's this realization that I need you for that. Like I can't do that on my own. It requires a lot to damage something that you've made, and to do it performatively. And it's such a pretentious word, performatively, but actually there's really something in it, and what that is this kind of almost realization that, or belief, and I think it's supported by philosophical ideas out there, is that we are not anything in the absence of something else, right? If I was by myself in a cupboard with no sensory inputs, nothing to experience the world through, I won't be anything, okay? And you could extend that idea to when I'm talking to somebody, I'm reflecting myself of them. I'm getting to know them. I'm becoming myself when I'm interacting with people or with objects or my machine. It's compelling a certain behavior from me. So if you're standing in front of me, you're compelling me to behave in a certain way, to be a certain thing. And everything is like that. Everything compels your behavior. All right? Everything. So my favorite example is, I've only had a cup here. All right, pretend that this is a cup of coffee. This cup of coffee compels me to do that, to tilt it back and drink the coffee, right? It doesn't compel me to. You'll remember the other day I did this video, Live Like a Lemon. I was bashing in a nail with a toaster. And I was doing that not because I like to abuse toasters, even though the toaster doesn't work so well anymore. I was doing it because the toaster doesn't compel that usually, right? It usually compels you to be kind of toast bread with it, right? It does that. You see, it limits your behavior. It suggests to you certain behaviors, like the coffee cup. It doesn't suggest to you to use it as a tennis ball because it's not going to bounce. Its behavior is not appropriate for that. So same in this context. When I'm interacting with people, and when I say you're there, you're people in my life, it's compelling me to behave in certain ways, to act in ways that I feel could be in line with me becoming myself. all right? Realizing myself even more, because I love being on my own. I love being on my own. Like, don't get me wrong, but there's something about being in the company of others that is performative. There's something in this idea of performance which is not trivial, you know? It's just theater. Well, maybe everything is just theater, okay? So let's leave it at that for now. I was even thinking of it in the context of sport, right? If you take cricket, like let's take cricket. It's this made-up game where somebody a couple of hundred years ago must have taken a ball and thrown it at a person. They must have had a piece of stick and they must have whacked it and see how far they could hit it. They said, well, see if you can hit it over there, and maybe it has to bounce. And then over time, that would have evolved into a sport with very rigorous rules and, this is the most important part, correct ways of hitting the ball. I remember when I was about 12 or 13 or 8 or 9 or whatever it was, hitting the ball and getting the stroke right, getting the hit right, straight back, just the right amount of lift on the back leg, all this stuff. And my coach saying, yes, that is the exact correct way of hitting that ball when the ball bounces there. So there was an optimal form of behavior because of the patterning of the way the ball was coming at me. And somehow everything is like that. You know, there's optimal or invited or compelled behaviors for all conditions that are out there. This is what I'm thinking about. So that is why you are there. And that is why you're not viewers, you're participants. Okay, you're actually part of what makes me me in this context. So where are we at with the drawing? If you can see this, I think you can. I'll try and get a bit closer. So tilt that down a bit more. There we go. Right. So actually, I ripped it, and I might have said to you, look, I need to now repair this thing. I need to repair it. So that's what I've been doing for the last spent a bit of time last night doing it, a bit of time this morning, and that is what I'm doing now. I'm repairing it. I'm repairing it to create it, essentially. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and if anything else compels me to speak, I'll speak. But that is really it's a nice part of the making now, because that weird feeling of I don't know what to, not a weird, the necessary condition of the not knowing isn't there right now. Like now I know I'm repairing, and I know this is where it becomes iterative. This is where it's repetitive, and I actually like that, because especially the way iterative doesn't mean predictable. Iterative means the process is predictable, but the outcome isn't. That's like evolution, very iterative and predictable process, but the outcome is a complete mystery. There's no way of being able to predict it. So there's elements of that here. I can't exactly predict where this is going, but I can really just enjoy the iterative process of discovering the rules of what I'm doing here. And the rules are really just get the needle through the one side, thread over, and get it in the lee side, and just get it to pop out on the other side, the lee side, if that's the right side. Not a mountain, is it? A bit of a mountain. And then just repair the damage that I'd inflicted upon it. And then and with this kind of belief that its logic will emerge, and through its logic something that is makes aesthetic sense. And when I talk about the logic, I refer to this drawing here. Well, this not really a drawing, is it? It's a when I discovered its logic, like the way the threads just kind of create kind of contours and seams and holes, and follow the logic of it. The logic emerged. That gave it its aesthetic, its beauty, let's say. Okay, hang on a second. OJ, what is it, boy? Just turn the camera so you can you see OJ there? I think he wants to go out. Yeah, you tell them. You tell him. Right, nothing yet. Um, so that's the logic. Where's my needle? Follow it along there. And I've gone up to the top, and I'm just going to come back now because I think the more reinforced it is, the better. Actually, it feels very nice too because of the cotton. I'm using white because I don't really want it to be too obvious that there's a. I want it to be. I want the something. It just feels a bit more subtle, and that feels right. But like all these things, I don't know yet whether this is the correct aesthetic decision. Unfortunately, that'll come in time. I'll get not a rude. Yeah, that's just part of the process. So I'll get you a bit close here. Oh, hi, Dave. I see you here. Do I want to chat? Yeah, I mean, we can try that. How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. If you can tell me how to do that. I actually saw when I was setting up, there's a feature we could do that. Maybe I could try that. I don't know if I can do it while I'm live here now, but it might be something to explore as we evolve this thing. Thanks, Dave. Nice to see you there. Dave doesn't know it, or maybe he does. A couple of years ago, I bumped into him at the shop, and he's the one who said to me, Sid, you should do this live. You should go into your studio and just kind of put the camera on and go live. And so he's the one you have to blame. Why am I looking at the camera? You can't see my face. Oh, it's more that I type and you talk. Yeah, go for it. Please. Very happy with that. I'll glance up every now and again and see if there's a message. As I said, this is quite iterative, so I'm not thinking too hard, and it's interesting to see how that goes. If we, ouch, you got to prick his finger. You do have to do that. Okay. Always pricking my finger. It's fine. You know, if I'm wounding the drawing, I should at least be wounding myself. It's only fair. Huh? Let's just, I'm going to click this chat button, see if everything's there. Some messages such as potential spam may not be visible. Live chat. Hide all live chat. I'm going to push that. I pushed it. Ah, there we go. All right. Okay, cool. So I've just got those on the screen. I'm not sure if you can see them on the screen, but the live chat is now on the screen. So let's see if anything comes of that. All right, basically the end of this thread. So let's cut that off. Just test live chat, says Dave. All right, well, test it. I'm right here. Do I have to test it, or are you testing it? I'm just stepping away from the camera to go and thread, put some more thread in. To thread the needle. I'll bring it here. So hopefully it won't take too long. I'm getting better at threading needles. I'll do it. And I'll do that in front of the camera. That'll be entertaining. Watch old Sid with these old eyes. Okay. Put the needle there. Just remember where I'm putting the needle. I was putting something up to see if it came up on the screen. It came up on my screen, Dave. Is it up on your screen? I might have to push that button. But I can only do that, I think, when I'm setting up the video in the first place. Oops. Okay. Right. Needle, lick thread, and aim through tiny hole. Okay. Right. Wish me luck. This is the part that can take the longest. You're doing it. No, not. No, not for me. Oh, God. A friend of mine gave me this fantastic machine for threading. I got it. And actually, you know what? It worked for a while, and now I think I'm actually getting better at this. So I actually like doing it now without having help. Because I feel like it's, I don't know why, I just like it. Satisfying when you get it through, really satisfying. Okay, snap. Not very visual, is it? I'm just going to push the live chat, see if there's ever missed anything. All right, so Dave's just testing that. Did you see anything there, Dave, if you're still there? All right, so just preparing the back of this thread so it doesn't come through the back, little loop. And then we keep going. Where did I get to? Got to right here. Let's just start over there. Good. Okay. Yeah, it's like you never can settle on the meaning of the thing. You know, it always is going to evolve until at a certain point. Even when it's finished, its meaning changes because the world changes around it. starts to say other things, if it's interesting enough, it should start to say reflect what's going on around it. That's what makes a drawing, even a stationary drawing, dynamic actually. Dynamic in its meaning. Whoop, you had a little rip? Nice. Don't mind that. In theory, so you can't damage this enough because you can always repair it. Or, I guess, the question is there a critical threshold at which the repair can no longer be damaged? The damage can no longer be repaired. Is there a critical threshold? And I suppose that's the line that I'm not necessarily looking for here. Maybe I am. But if I'm going to follow the logic of this process, which I plan to, in other works, if not this one, have other things in mind, that really is what it is. It's like you're finding that line. And I suppose that's a, inescapable metaphor for our own lives, is that at some point, the damage that life provides, just through its natural process, can no longer be repaired. And then, of course, that's it. You go to wherever it is you go when that happens. So so that's what I'm enjoying about this process, is that normally a drawing is symbolic, but the aha moment with this body of work is that it transcended the symbolic to become the thing, to become it, So that's where it's less about symbols and more about actuals. In a way, it's like it's not symbolic now because I'm literally looking for those lines which it can no longer return from, and hopefully find them, or hopefully tread them in a way that holds them together. Don't want to destroy it. I don't want it to die. But that might be where this ultimately has to go. I don't know. But that's why I'm just, at the moment, these are the questions that I have to ask myself as I go. Or these are the reflections that pop up as I'm working. And we have to push it to those lines. Because that is where the thing is most alive, when it's on those lines. If it's too perfect, it hasn't lived, has it? It's got to live. It's got to show those lines of age. No Botox for this thing. It wants the beauty of aging, or showing its lines of lifelines. Yeah, I'll just keep going back and forwards here. Just because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing that so much. Loving this process. But you just never know. You never know. I was convinced that the previous iteration was the finished work. And then I just couldn't accept it anymore. So, same here. We just don't know. Yeah, so if you, I don't know if you're still there, Dave, or whoever's there, if you want to pop something on the live chat, we can try that. We can give it a try. I actually see that there's another person there, so that's kind of cool. I've never had such a huge audience before. Popped off. Anyway, we just keep going. The ultimate aim of all of this is for the self-consciousness to disappear, like forget the camera's there, you know? But again, that's that subtle awareness that it is there. You kind of want to have a bit of that, because, well, I don't know. Oh my gosh, it's very confusing. Okay. Try and take you a bit closer so you can get a different angle. There we go. If that is any better, try that. That's over there. Okay. Yeah, I've kind of run out of things to say. Just enjoying this quite meditative process, which is also fine, you know. As I said, this is not entertainment. It's about something different. It's about presence. So that's part of the learning, is that recognizing it's not even necessarily communication. There's some sort of exchange that's happening here. That's what I'm starting to understand. What I instinctively suspected, well, not suspected, have been discovering in my process, is that you never make work in isolation. It's always community driven. And the most interesting things that I've ever done have always been in a less private context. So this is I'm remembering now why I've started doing these in the first place. It's because there's something in that exchange that happens when you're not on your own. Okay, that is the end of that thread. And that takes me naturally then to the end of the session. Pop it off. Send you on your merry way. And I'll just say, let's see. Oh, there's a lot of me there. Okay, can I make that? So, oh yeah, I didn't know. I didn't realize I was zooming. So thank you for joining me this morning. And this has actually been the 15th iteration the 15th, and I was going to do 30 over the month. I think it's been 2 months now, possibly, or probably maybe just over a month. And I'm going to do another 15 of this series. And the original premise was always to see what happened from the first one to the 30th one, and what did we learn. And we're still in the middle of it, so I don't know what we've learned yet, but it'll be interesting to reflect. As in the same way I reflect on every... So this is like an artwork within an artwork. So there's the artwork I'm working on over here. But then there's also this itself is a experiment. An experiment. And we can call it an art experiment because, I mean, what else can I call it? I don't know. A human experiment, maybe. This is also that. So this is also evolving and becoming, evolving to find what its optimal, what its logic is, what its rules are. So thank you for being on this, being participants in this experiment along with me. Have a good day.